And welcome back to the Weekly Tech Round with me, Jay.
And me, Karl.
And episode 229, All Things Steam, I think is a good way to look
It
at
is
that one.
definitely, yes. A
Yeah.
surprise announcement or announcements.
It is. We've got all of them for you later in the show. So this week, we are going to catch you up on the latest tech news and stories. We got. I think what's the word? Eclectic is the right mix, isn't it? I think that's the right word, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're going to talk Nvidia, but not the usual Nvidia AI stuff. We're going to talk Apple again, not the usual Apple stories. We're going to talk Valve
Socks.
and all their socks. We're going to talk socks. Yeah, we're going to talk socks.
Yep.
And we're going to talk Valve and all things Valve. But yeah, I mean, like you said, that was a crazy announcement they dropped the other week, and well, this week I should say.
It was just drop the mic, wasn't it, and wander off. You're like, what?
It was just like it's like Gabe, well, come back, Gabe. We want to know more.
He's back on his yacht. He's not bothered anymore.
No, he's sailing back to New Zealand, isn't he? But before we go any further, how are you getting on with Battlefield? I know I haven't played much this week, but with
definitely, there was a new update dropped, wasn't there?
Yep.
Fixed a load of bugs and stuff like that, but also seemed to introduce more maps for our casual breakthrough mode. So I've seen at least 2 other maps. I don't know. I keep getting the same ones again in rotation, but I have some new ones pop up. So I think we've got 4 or 5 maps now. There was another New York one that appeared yesterday, actually.
Okay.
It's another location within there. We've also got the what's it called? The one that looks a bit like it's set in the Middle East with the half-built buildings and stuff.
Oh, is that not the? It's not the Cairo map, is it? Was that the Cairo map, or is that the different?
No, it's a different one. It's one we had played in multiplayer. It's quite an open, it's a much bigger map. But yeah, I've got at least 4 or 5 in there now, so I'm hoping some more will come.
Look, I think the game is, they've had a steady launch. They've started to listen to the back of the community, haven't they, with the features that people want, and they're putting in. But I have to say there was another interesting announcement, or kind of announcement also, that kind of dropped yesterday, but we didn't get enough time for the notes. Was that Ubisoft have paused their earnings call, haven't they? And there appears to be some announcement going on with whether nobody's quite sure what it is. But they delayed their half one FY25, FY26 kind of earnings update call.
Yeah, I mean,
and also they've stopped trading of shares.
Yeah, so there's definitely something weird going on. Do we suspect it's insider fraud and that kind of stuff going on? There's been some manipulation of stock prices or accounts or something like that.
There's got to be something, because apparently the press statement that was published by them said that they would only inform the market on the date that trading will restart, and would publish the delayed financial report in the coming days. So I think there was some kind of a speculation. What was it, acquisition? Well, that doesn't sound like acquisition, does it?
You wouldn't usually pause the shares for acquisition. I mean, either they're going into administration or trying to sort something out to keep afloat, or there's been irregularities discovered in their financial earnings.
It does smell of irregularities, doesn't it?
It does. I know they're not in a good place at Ubisoft and haven't been for a while.
No, it's been on like you say, it's been on a slide. Share price has gone down. I know we're uniquely keen waiting for this new Ghost Recon game, but we're never going to get.
No. I don't think we're getting a new one, which is a shame. I might just have to go back and replay Breakpoint or what's the other one?
Oh, Wildlands.
Wildlands, yeah.
See Wildlands. I went back and completed again. When we did it, and I love Wildlands. I think personally, for me, Wildlands was the better of the 2 games. Breakpoint was good. It was a different approach. But
see, that wasn't really my first entry into the series. I'd kind of missed them all completely, and then I played Breakpoint with you, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
from that point.
Well, we played Wildlands as well, didn't we? We played that first.
We did, I played that one after Breakpoint.
I'd say it's a good game. I think it's a good game, and it's they could have done more with it. I think, couldn't they? To be honest with you,
yeah, definitely.
But hey, we'll be back. Right, let's crack on then with today's stories. Then, so I can't believe I'm going to say this. We might not be able to buy the Nvidia RTX 50 supercards that were rumored to be coming out next year.
Christmas
is ruined. My children are going to cry. What have you done?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah. So this is a rumor, and it's coming from Unico's Hardware on their X channel. Whatever. Basically, they're saying the Super range of cars, not just the 5080. Sorry, excuse me, the Super range.
That's all right.
which are obviously based on the current ones, but usually with a bump and clock speed, maybe a few more CUDA cores, but most importantly, more RAM or VRAM. We've been saying the entire super line has basically been cancelled, and this is due to basically increase in RAM prices. So, if you've noticed recently, pretty much every month the cost of RAM and SSDs is doubling or more. And you can guess why. It's not Bitcoin this time. It's AI that's eating everything. It's AI.
It's crazy.
So crazy. The rumor was originally, because this is a rumor based on a rumor, that the supers were going to be using the new 3GB GDDR7 modules from Samsung to then give us, say, 24 gig and a 5080 rather than 16 gig on the current one. Perfect. But yeah, apparently they're all now being used in server hardware and professional hardware. So your Pro series of GPUs and your Blackwells and all that kind of stuff for your servers. But it's also rather worryingly mentioned that the 2 GB modules they currently use are also going up in price. So yeah, your current graphics cards, not even the rumored ones, may be going up in price.
eBay's just going to go mental, isn't it? You know,
well, eBay is already crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, even more so now, given the just insane amount of well, I want to say secondhand deals, but they're not even secondhand. A lot of it's just what's the word? Price gouging. Profiteering. Yeah, exactly. I am super disappointed by this. So if it is as true as it appears that the supers have been cancelled, because that's what I was holding out for. I was going to get a super. Now I don't know what to do. Now do I go AMD? Because we were talking about this before, weren't we? You know, do I go AMD instead? But
I don't know. I've shot myself in the foot. I got a very good deal on a 3090 last time. I paid £650. I can still sell it for $600 on eBay, which is crazy 3 years later. But it's put me in that position where I want to upgrade, but I don't want to lose 24 gig of VRAM, which either pushes me to a 4090 or a 5090, and I'd have to cancel Christmas to be able to afford one of those.
I mean, or sell a child, you know.
Yeah, so I'm stuck.
It's kind of frowned upon. Just be clear.
Yeah, so I mean, I could go and get a 5080, but then I'm dropping 8 gig of VRAM there.
Yeah, see, that's where you've been spoiled by that.
I'd probably be fine, but I just can't bring myself to do it. I think that I can get a 5080 for around 900. I could sell the 3090 for 600, and it's not a lot of an investment for me to do an upgrade there. But yeah, I can't get past that dropping 8 gig of VRAM.
No, and I think for me though, it's almost like, what do I do here? I think for me, maybe a 5070 Ti is probably still the best option.
Yeah.
But again, it's dependent on price. I mean, I'll get 16 gig of VRAM, which is more than I've got now, isn't it? I've got 8, isn't it? Is it 8 with?
Yes, 13? An 8 on the 3070, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I'll double my VRAM, you know. So
it's a win-win for you. It's just not quite as much of a win as you'd hoped.
But I kind of begrudge dropping like £1,000 close to. It depends on where you buy it from and which model you're buying. But at least 800. When realistically, could I have spent a bit more and got the super if they were to appear? Yeah, so it's going to be a real tough decision for me, because I really do need to upgrade the graphics card. I'm starting to not get massive performance hits, but the new Grey Zone Warfare update, whilst has been slightly more, it's been a little bit more efficient with the frames. Still, it's going to require it, and I reckon when that goes alpha, whenever that might be, it's going to need it. It's going to need that extra run.
And if you want to buy what we'll talk about later, you might need some more grunt and some more VRAM for your new Steam acquisition.
Well, that's something to think about then.
It is. I think for now, I'm just going to hold fire, because there's nothing I'm playing that I think, oh, this is a crap experience.
No, because you'd already made that leap. So I think, being one behind, for me, I need to step
same generation. Mine's a 30 series as yours.
But you got the VRAM. It's the VRAM
at the time. Well, there's a TI version above that now, or was, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to hold fire and see what next year brings.
Yeah, no. It depends, whether we make any money in our jobs.
It depends what money's like job wise. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Or whether or not I'm, but let's be honest. The moment I've nearly pulled the trigger on a new 3D printer the other day, so you never know. I might just pull.
I've nearly done that several times.
Pull the trigger on a new
as far as putting the payment information in, I just couldn't press the submit button.
Yes, that's as far as I got to. All right then. So talking of delaying payments, there are information out there. Apple is delaying the release in the future of the iPhone Air 2 in order to work on a redesign of the device, and apparently based on consumer feedback, which includes the potential of adding of a second camera.
Yes.
I don't know. So there are a lot of rumors floating around that the iPhone Air hasn't sold very well, isn't it? That it hasn't been a commercial hit, and they've decided to pull back on it. I just look. First thing, if we get into the meat of this, right? Two things. Apple do not tell, or Apple no longer disclose, do they? The amount of numbers that they ship per unit. There's no unit numbers in there.
Yeah, there's just not a notepad that's going to fit that many zeros on.
No, and gone are the days when they'd sell. Yeah, we sold 30 million iPhones this quarter, because it's just pointless at this stage.
It's meaningless, yeah.
And secondly, Apple always reduce production numbers post-launch.
They do, but the rumors here, this is quite a substantial reduction. They're saying that basically there's two manufacturers, isn't there, for the Air? Foxconn and Luxshare. Well, Luxshare basically ended production in October of the Air, and Foxconn has dismantled all but 1.5 of its production lines, and expects to hold all production by the end of the month. So come the end of this month, so in 2 weeks, we'll have no more production of iPhone Airs.
In that case, though, would you stay here, though, that did they overproduce the stock? Because Apple also do that as well, don't they? They
I imagine the reason they're doing this, they have a large amount of stock, but the reason they must have a large amount of stock is they've not sold that many.
Yeah, that's what I suspected. Is that they did probably, given that it was a new unit, they probably overstocked as they normally do, but perhaps by a higher margin here. Now, but also I think we talked about this at launch. For Apple, this was a new form factor. This was a complete change in engineering. I don't think they ever anticipate this to be the flagship device that was going to outsell everything else, because people had to get their heads around it, didn't they? Because of the difference in the capabilities and that, and you were looking at a different consumer. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it hasn't been.
I know someone who has bought one. A friend of mine. He's not upgraded in probably 3 years. He went.
That's a massive change then. Yeah.
So it's a huge upgrade for him. He's loving it. But there's a but. The camera. He would like a second camera.
Well, maybe he's going to get there then.
Maybe he will with Air. But from the rumors say, we won't be getting an Air 2 next year. We were probably expecting the 18 Pro and the Fold, won't we? Or maybe even an E version to update the iPhone E, an Air 2. But sounds like we're not going to get it.
Well, I did see another rumor apparently that the 16E isn't selling very well either. Apparently, but I think you sometimes got to take some of these with a pinch of salt, isn't it? I think.
But also, what's Apple's definition of very well? I suspect Apple's definition of very well is different from a lot of other people's definition of very well.
Well, and that's something we have been very clear about. When you talk about Apple and their financial earnings, Apple's revenue, per say iPhone unit, as in business unit, is bigger than some, Fortune 500 companies alone, isn't it? So I think you're right. To Apple, is it $1 billion shipping unit quarter, or is it 500 million units shipped? Which for any other product would be, my God, phenomenal. That's like historic. If car manufacturers were shipping that, we wouldn't be able to move for cars on the road. But I guess the other point is I've always wondered, is there ever a saturation point with phones? And I think there probably is, but there also is a point where people will upgrade because they've built this psychology into it, haven't they, about the upgrade? And you and I have broken that slightly. It took a long time for us to do that, but we have.
I think it helped that we're no longer in the industry as such, as in managing devices, which is what.
I think you're right, but there was also But there's also a lot of consumers who get bought into that, don't they? And like, I must upgrade because there's a new widget that is ever so slightly different from the widget last year. Look, good example. Past week, I've been business travel, and a couple of people in the room had the iPhone 17 Pro, with the orange.
Oh, the orange. Ooh.
And I saw it and I looked at it and I'm like, damn, I like that. I was
Hold
like,
the credit cards.
I was
Give them
like,
to your colleague. Can you hold these so I don't just buy one tonight?
that is awesome. I really want that. And but then I was like, why?
Why? Just because it's shiny.
Yeah, the cameras are better. But yeah, okay, the cameras are better, but they're not that much better than my phone. And actually, the iPhone 16 camera is far better than the 14 camera that I got, So I just think to myself, I just got to stop. I've got to hold my horses on this, and
Wait till
stand
next
back.
year
So,
or the year after.
yeah, so I think the same here, with Apple. I wonder whether Apple have had success here. They've got what they wanted out of it. They've got good consumer feedback that is, shaping how they want to go with this. And perhaps because right now, from an engineering perspective, they can't deliver that in the next 12 months, then they'll hold fire on it and release it, as you say, in the next next illustration. But yeah, I look, I wouldn't be worried here.
No,
I think if there were rumors saying that the iPhone 17 hadn't sold very well, that would be different, far different.
definitely. But we also had a surprise Apple product drop, didn't we?
Oh well, yes, a product drop. The product drop that dropped in the middle of the night as well. I might add as well.
That's never good. So they released the iPhone Pocket, and no, this is not a new phone. This is a pocket to put your iPhone in. So basically, this looks like to me like it's a knitted phone holder that you can basically wear over your shoulder or dangle in your arm like a purse. Now, brace yourself. There is an Apple tax involved, and this costs £220.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay.
You could buy an Android phone for that.
You could, but you wouldn't get the experience. So
Of the
this isn't
socks.
just a piece. This isn't just a piece of cloth, though, is it? This is a fashion statement which has been created in collaboration with the person or the fashion label that created
Yep.
Steve Jobs' famous turtleneck jumpers, wasn't it? So Issey
Didn't know there was a
Miyake.
fashion label that created that. I just thought he went to, I don't know,
No,
Next or whatever and
no.
bought
Next,
turtlenecks.
what's some men's outfitters in America? I can't think of one. Banana
I
Republic or
don't
something.
know. But you know what I mean?
Uh,
You just went to just like black turtlenecks, ordered them on Etsy.
Yeah. So these are high fashion items. The press release dropped at 3 a.m. West Coast time,
Wow.
which it applies that it was probably aimed at the Asian market, particularly Japan.
Okay, yeah,
Uh,
makes sense.
but you're right. It does look a bit like one of the colors, because it comes in, what's it, 8 colors, I think, isn't it? It comes in.
Yeah.
One of the colors looks very similar to Borat's mankini. Um,
Yes. It has taken a bit, well, I say not a bit, an absolutely brutal beating online. Yeah,
it
I
does.
say that it's been compared to what, a £220 cut up sock. And now
Yeah.
that they've said that, it does look suspiciously like you've just taken one of those knee high socks and cut a hole in it to put your arm
Yeah.
through. But yeah, as you mentioned, Sacha Baron Cohen, he played Borat, didn't he, in his famous mankini? Just look a bit like that too.
I would say here, right? So there's been, like you say, there's some pushback. Some of their social media people have been saying, haven't they, that with it's not secure for my device and that kind of stuff. But without being rude to those people, this is not aimed at those people, is it?
No,
If you
it's a
can
very niche
spend
product.
if you can spend $230 on a, like you say, what effectively is a sock with a hole in it, you are not. How do I put this politely? You're not the hoi polloi. You're not the general public. You are a high-end consumer with high disposable income who buys high fashion. And this is the same people who would have dropped 10 grand on a Hermes Apple Watch or whatever, isn't
Handbag,
it?
that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's high fashion, and because it's limited edition, you're not going to be walking around the street and bumping into somebody with the same one. But that being said, how long do you think before we see the knockoffs?
I suspect they're already coming. I suspect if we would search Etsy, we might find one.
Yeah, the knockoffs are coming, aren't they? That is definitely my thought on this when I saw it. It was like,
Yep.
how long before you go to, I don't know, your favorite manufacturer of stuff and you say, like you say, there's going to be on it. But, who was, I did see there was a comment by, was it Marcus Brownlee, wasn't it? Famous YouTuber. Who was he call it? A litmus test for people who buy or defend anything Apple. Do you know what? I think he's wrong there. I don't think Apple are doing this to prove a point. I think Apple are doing a collaboration because and I think it's probably also because of Steve Jobs. I imagine there's some historical element there into the brand. But I mean, I
think
won't be buying
Marcus
one.
would have been right if this was a generic product launch, mass produced, buy them in any store. But as it's a limited run, collaboration with a high-end designer, it's a bit different. See, this isn't for your everyman.
No, it's not. It's not at all. And what I would also argue here is that, do you remember many years ago, Apple released the iPod Sock?
Vaguely.
Do you know, the iPod Sock was a little sock, looked like the top half of a tube sock, but without the bit, because obviously an iPod isn't shaped like a foot, and you slipped it in the top, and the iPod stuck out the top of it. And you could buy, I think that came in several covers. You could buy a pack of them for like $30, I think it was, whatever. Yeah. And what I'd also argue here is that had the difference of being announced on a keynote on stage at Macworld by Steve Jobs. So that was I think, that if that was now and Tim Cook had done that, I think you're right. Marcus's comment, exactly to your point, would be standing. But this is not going to be. This is not going to be talked about on any Apple keynotes. This is not going to. You're not going to see Tim Cook wearing this. This is just a one-off.
We're not going to see Tim Cook in the next Apple.
I very much doubt.
This is just bust on stage wearing it.
This is just one of those high-end collaborations, isn't it? That is just there because they can do it, basically. And the thing about Apple,
like the Hermes version of the watches.
Yeah, exactly.
It's exactly the same watch.
Yeah, and if you think about it as well, Apple do this as well because there's heritage. So they're not going to collaborate with, I don't know, just any old brand, are they? Like you said, they're not going to collaborate with Primark on, because on a budget version.
No.
This is a high-end version. That if you're familiar with Steve Jobs, for example, you're going to know about the fashion label, or again, if you're a high fashion person, you'll see this. So yeah, there's a very small niche market, but let's be honest, it's given us a laugh.
It has indeed.
All right. So from one laughing thing to definitely not a laughing thing, more of a surprise. Valve, what the hell is going on?
We out of nowhere, several announcements from Valve. No, not Half-Life 3.
No, I knew you were going to say that.
But buckle up, there's a lot to tell. So we got 3 announcements, didn't we? We got a Steam frame, we got a Steam machine, yes, that Steam machine, and a Steam controller again. So what? Start with the Steam frame.
I think Steam frame is a good place to start, as any. Yeah,
it is. So this is not a picture frame running Steam. This is their new VR headset. Okay, so the previous one was the Index, wasn't it? Very well received.
It was.
But this is a
expensive.
Bit of a change of terms. Yes, that was very expensive. And then you had to buy the lighthouses, the sensors on top, didn't you? But yeah, this is what Valve are calling, basically offers standalone and PC streamed gaming experiences. And we'll talk about the streaming bit in a minute. But spec-wise, it looks very, very good, doesn't it? We've got pancake lenses, so nice and flat, makes it a lot less bulky. They're over 4K an eye. They're 2160 by 2160 LCDs, one per eye. It goes up to 144 refresh rate. Large field of view. You've got that manual IPD adjustment, which is great for people with problem eyes. They are investigating options for prescription lenses as well. So fingers crossed, I might be able to buy some with my really poor eyes.
We'll be blinded.
People will be glad to hear that it doesn't require the lighthouses anymore. It's going to use the inside-out camera-based tracking. So we've got 4 forward-facing monochrome cameras, and that will do pass-through, monochrome only, unfortunately. And it will do all the tracking of the IR illumination from the controllers and other accessories. There's 2 interior cameras, isn't there, for eye tracking?
Yes. Yeah.
And we'll talk a bit more about why that's important next. And it's got IR illuminators everywhere. So if you're using inside-out tracking, quite often if you move a controller to the side or behind your head, it loses track of it and it has to guess. But Valve have put IR illuminators on the sides, on the back, so it should accurately track your controllers everywhere. Nicely, it's got Wi-Fi 7, believe it or not, with dual radios, 5 or 6 gigahertz, and Bluetooth. It's got your usual speakers, microphone arrays. I said it's designed for local games as well. So it's got a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, 16 gig of RAM, and you can get it in 256 or 1 terabyte config options, and it's got a micro SD card slot as well. Big battery on the back of the headset this time.
Yeah, a little bit unusual, but
who else did that? Someone else did that. Can't remember. It's not Apple. They put the battery pack separately, didn't they? But it's on the back, so it should counter the weight of the headset at the front. But it's a very light headset. It's only 440 grams, including the head strap. The Quest 3 weighs over 500. running Steam OS. So the same as your Steam Deck. And here's the really cool part. It's got a PCI Express Gen 4 expansion port.
That was weird. I did not expect that to have that.
No. And look, we mentioned it's going to have pass-through. It's going to have monochrome ones. And now Valve haven't said this, but you could plug color pass-through cameras into that. It's mounted. The expansion port is near the just above the nose. It's in the center of the headset there. So you could potentially plug other sensors in there to help with. I presume it probably does hand tracking anyway, but as I said, yeah, color pass-through maybe.
Given the foundations that they built this on from the Index, and obviously other headsets in the market, and obviously we've Samsung XR launch, we've had the Apple Vision Pro 2 in brackets launch. I mean, this definitely looks like a modern headset, doesn't it? It isn't a classic clunky VR headset.
No, it looks very thin and svelte, doesn't it?
Yeah, it almost looks like some kind of futuristic, fighter pilot helmet, doesn't it? Over the arm,
Yeah, you like see him in the fighter jets. Black shiny front mask on it. Yeah, that's very, very cool. Yeah, so standalone support though. So like a Meta Quest, but obviously running Steam OS. Now this is built on ARM. But so Valve has built an x86 to ARM translation layer, a bit like Rosetta on the Mac. And they're basically saying you should be able to run anything that works on the Steam Deck on the frame.
Okay, that's quite a statement.
It is. There'll be, and like they've done with the Steam Deck, if you go browse Steam, you'll see a lot of section that says Steam Deck compatible or not, and you'll have different gradings depending on how compatible. Sometimes it will work, but you might have to switch to a mouse to click some button in a custom launcher, whatever. But they tell you all about that, so they'll be doing the same for the Steam frame. What else? Streaming. So we said game streaming. This
is my question. Was going to be yeah.
This isn't cloud streaming. This is basically Valve's interpretation of PC VR. Okay, so traditionally you've got a VR headset. You've got the Rift S.
Rift S. Yep.
And I've got a Quest 2. And to do PC gaming, we go and plug a cable in it, plug it into the PC, and off we go. So Valve's idea is streaming is you won't need the cable. So instead of the USB-C cable, you've got a dedicated 6 gigahertz Wi-Fi radio just for connecting to the PC. So this can be, if you've got a top of the range, Wi-Fi 7 6 gigahertz access point, just connect it to that one. Or they're also shipping a dedicated USB adapter in the box. Will give you that point-to-point connection between your headset and the PC. So a bit like Meta's AirLink, but with dedicated hardware, dedicated channels, and a much better experience. Now, some other cool technology that comes into play there. So we mentioned eye tracking, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
One of the things with VR we've talked about before several times is foveated rendering. Okay, so that's where you only render where the eye is looking at a really high resolution, and the periphery stuff you render at lower vision. So
we know that from DCS.
Yeah, not many games support that. DCS does not, for example. So Valve have come up with another idea called foveated streaming. Similar kind of thing, but this applies to the when you're doing VR, you encode the game into a video stream and stream the video to the headset. So we're going to use this to encode the bit you're looking at a lot higher clarity than so your peripheral vision, where they don't have to do as high res encoding when we're in the video image. Basically giving you kind of it will save bandwidth, increase image quality, and reduce latency because it's having to do less. So apparently from the videos I've seen, very, very good experience. I saw one video, Linus Tech Tips. He was wandering about 30, 40 foot away from the PC and was still getting a really good experience.
So far, everything I've read and seen is making me very interested. There is just, I guess, the one question hanging over me, though.
Yes, the price. Now, apparently we'll hear more in they're aiming to release it in 2026, aren't they? And we should hear pricing there. Now, I've heard it's going to be priced lower than the Valve Index, which
that can't be too difficult.
Well, yeah, basically $1,000, but it's just been discontinued. So this will be their only headset. Where will come in? I don't know. I suspect maybe $800.
Yeah, I guess it's probably a reasonable.
I mean, they could shock everyone, but Valve isn't the kind of Valve isn't a company
Valve
that
doesn't
will
do low end.
they don't discount the hardware. They'll subsidize it like games
Well,
consoles do, or Meta does with the Quest. They subsidize it and expect to get money back by one selling your data or you buying games. That's not the way.
yeah, I was going to say, and the only time they discount is when it's end of life. So, for example, the LED Steam Decks were cheaper to buy, weren't they, than the OLED?
Yeah, and they still are. They're still selling the LCD, aren't they? One configuration for like £300 or dollars or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think this is going to be cheap, but I think you're going to get a very good experience. And I have a Quest 2, as I know you have a Rift S, and we're looking for what would be the next upgrade. This may
I think we found
be it. For multiple reasons, not just the hardware. I'll talk about later in my thoughts on the announcements. Yeah, next one, Steam machines. Now, we have been here before, haven't we?
We have, and when was this? Back in 2013, wasn't it? The first ones came out, I think 2014.
Yeah, this was, what was it? Valve's first stab. They designed it all and built the OS, but then got third parties like HP and Dell and Alienware to build the hardware, didn't they?
And they all did their own thing, didn't they? Do you remember?
They all did their own thing at various price points, and there were no cheap options, and it wasn't very good. You know, I think Valve have learned from this when they did the Steam Deck, didn't they? Well, Valve spent many years and money beforehand doing what's it called, Proton, which is the translation layer for Linux. You can play Windows games. That was always the problem with the first Steam machine. They expected developers to build Linux versions.
Just didn't materialize, did it?
No. So Valve have learned, and they will now do all the wizardry stuff for you. You just carry on building Windows games.
So what's different? What makes this better than a Steam Deck?
Oh, that's it. Okay, first, I don't know about you. I saw this, and I was like, looks like an Xbox Series X, but half the height.
Sorry, you saw, what was the first thing you saw? Sorry?
It looks like, I thought it looked like an Xbox Series
Oh, that's
X,
what I thought. That's what I thought. Oh.
Yeah, it looks like an Xbox, just half the height. But yeah, so like the Steam Deck and the Steam Frame, it's going to be running Steam OS, which shouldn't be a surprise. This is a little surprising, though. They are promising that you should get 4K 60 FPS on all the games that currently run on Steam Deck. Although you may have to, tweak some of the settings, but it should about 6 or 7 times the power of the Steam Deck. They are running, like the Steam Deck, they are running some custom silicon here, or custom AMD silicon. So
definitely custom.
Yeah, apparently they've got some custom AMD CPU based on Zen 4, 16 cores, 12 threads, up to 4.8 gigahertz. Again, packing 16 gig of DDR5 RAM and 8 gig of dedicated VRAM. That's GDDR6. It's got a custom AMD RDNA3 GPU with 28 cores, or CUs, compute units, isn't it?
Yeah, this one's, yeah.
Yep, you get 512 or 2 terabyte storage. Again, it's got a micro SD card slot. They're very keen on that one, so you can just move it between machines. You've got Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth. It's got a built-in 2.4 gigahertz stream for the controller, which we'll talk about in a minute. It's a PC. It's packed with ports. You've got multiple USB A's, C's. You've got gigabit Ethernet. You've got DisplayPort and HDMI 2 in the box there. And both of those support, up to 4K. The DisplayPort supports up to 8K as well. They'll do 240 hertz. They've got FreeSync, HDR support. It's pretty packed. Don't know a price again. 2026 release date. I suspect this won't be cheap though. I say the PS5 and the PS5 Pro and the Xbox Series X aren't cheap, are they? And they're subsidized.
Yeah, I'm curious at this. I'm curious why they want to go down this road again. But is it because the Steam Deck has been a phenomenal success?
Yeah.
And this is just purely gaming, isn't it? This is, like you say, this is a gaming PC, but without all the bells and whistles. This is it. You just want gaming, isn't it? Ultimately,
yeah. But actually, they've said it's also a fully featured PC on the Steam Deck. You wouldn't really do it there unless you're hooked up to a TV. You can switch to desktop mode, and you've got a full Linux desktop.
But I can't see people necessarily doing on this.
No, but the option is there because it's Steam OS.
Yeah, but also, are you? Is it? But also, would you want to do it that way, or would you just do it as like the old Steam Link, and you leverage, leverage as a kind of very high end Steam Link?
Yeah, Would you?
I don't know. I'm thinking, where would I use one? Where would I have one?
I was going to do some thoughts after the controller bit, but it's probably apparent to hear. I think it's a good idea. Just thinking from the point of view that they're building an ecosystem, aren't they? All based around PC gaming. So basically, the ability to play games wherever you are. So I could be in the living room with my Steam machine, pause my game, grab my Steam Deck. I'm out on the move. I'm on a train, carry on playing my game because I've got cloud syncs. I get home, want a proper gaming session. Go to my normal PC that isn't a Steam PC. Again, I load my game from Steam, just carry on where I left off. And let's not forget, PC gaming, or the games themselves, are considerably cheaper than consoles.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't need to buy new games for my Steam machine. I've already got, I don't know, 300 or 400 sitting in Steam that I can potentially just go and play. Play on basically Steam anywhere. It's like Microsoft's vision for Xbox anywhere. Steam are already trying to do this now.
Yeah. No, I think I see where you're coming. Yeah, your ecosystem comment I think is spot on. You're right. I think that is a possibility. But it just maybe I'm looking at it from jaded eyes, cynical view because being here before. And
but look,
why would I want one?
A kid going off to uni, I can give them a Steam
absolutely.
machine. They can do their work on it. They can play games on it. They can watch video on it, or hooked up to a TV or whatever. But yeah, I think we talked, was it last week, about I probably won't buy another Xbox. Not for myself.
No, but this could be a replacement.
But would I buy this instead? Maybe not version 1, maybe version 2. And, my Xbox has had enough in the living room. I give it to one of the kids and I put something else in its place. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you're right. I was just kind of thinking about that as you were saying it. I mean, you're right. And there's, again, if this could potentially give performance boost as well, couldn't it? By just not having all the overheads of Windows and things like that.
Well, they've already had it. I mean, I saw an article on, the news, the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X or whatever it's called. The Xbox that isn't really an Xbox. Well, somebody did a review and they had that and they did benchmarking between that and then they wiped it and put SteamOS on it. Much better performance.
Yeah, this could be the thing. You're right. Actually, when I look at my gaming PC, what Windows things do I do on it? Very minimal Windows things on it these days because I drive a Mac as my daily driver. And if I was doing anything else as well, I probably wouldn't do it on that machine. I'd do it on a laptop. So, you know what? It's a dedicated gaming machine.
Well, you could just install SteamOS on your. Well, you can't. You've got an NVIDIA, but you know what I mean.
But you're right.
But it might be a time where you could just install SteamOS on your gaming PC and get better performance.
I have to say, I'm very interested to see what the performance is like in real life when these things drop, and actually what really games are like playing on it. And I don't want to see. I want to see the real reviews, not the we're playing Cyberpunk 2077 review. That doesn't help me. But I'm super impressed by this. And again, I think as you say, they've taken a lot of the time to look at the performance, the feedback, and what people want. And there we go. Did you see? But I have to say, did you see the one with the wood front? By the way.
Yes, I did.
I thought
they've all got RGB. I didn't say that, but they've all got RGB.
Quite tasteful, I thought. Actually, am I getting old?
It's a bit like the fractal design, the wood case.
That's the one. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Nothing like a bit of wood. But
a bit of wood panel in my car.
Yeah, it is. The price is going to be interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Series X is $650 currently. A PS5 Pro is $750. I would hope it'd be somewhere around there. Be surprised, but Valve don't really. Yeah, they don't discount.
So come on then. So also alongside this, then they've dropped a new controller, haven't they? As well.
They did. Again, we have been here before. You even have.
I've got one. I can see it.
You can see it. An original Steam controller.
But I can't get it to work. I can't get it to charge up for some reason because I can't find the dongle.
Oh, okay. Well, we just have to buy a new one.
Maybe I will.
Yeah, so this is the Steam controller. I've just called the Steam controller, but Steam controller V2. I don't know. Basically, now about aiming to kind of improve on the original shortcomings. So they've kind of rejigged how it's laid out. So it's quite like a PlayStation controller now, isn't it? Where you've got the symmetrically placed thumbsticks.
Yep.
They're a bit off center with the Xbox, so symmetrical. They're using tunnel magnetoresistance. So basically, they're a lot better thumbsticks on it. They should reduce that stick drift and dead zones. They've still got the 2 touch pads like you did on the original one and like you have on the Steam Deck, but they're just placed below the thumbsticks now. I don't really use them, but they're meant to give you like mouse-like accuracy, but while you're sitting on your couch. I don't use them on my Steam Deck. I just can't get my head around them. I don't really play FPSs where they might be good for that, but great to see them there. You've got the 4 face buttons, D-pad, like you normally would. You've got your traditional analog triggers. You've got your bumpers left and right. Like the Steam Deck, I quite like, and like the Elite controller, the Xbox Elite controller, you've got 4 extra programmable buttons on the underside. And interestingly, you've got something called grip sense.
Yeah, I read about that. Yeah.
So it seems to be on the back where your hands naturally rest. They've got capacitive touch zones, which if you squeeze, then enables a built-in gyro. So you can use a gyro like a Switch.
I like the Steam controller. I'll be honest with you though, I never really got on with it, and I think
it's a bit of an adjustment, isn't it? It's having time to adjust that different bit.
And those pads on the Gen 1s just were not good.
And they were the prominent bit on the Gen 1s, weren't they?
Yeah, and I think that was the issue with it. But this looks like, again, a serious improvement. It looks like they've taken, again, everything I see here, apart from the frame, is come from the Steam Deck, hasn't it? This is all evolution of the Steam Deck.
Yeah. I quite like that. They've got a thing called the puck, haven't they, that ships with it. It's like if you bought the Xbox Elite controller, you get a little dock, kind of charging dock, don't you? You stick it on there and it charges it. It's very similar to that, but it's also
it looks tiny though, doesn't it?
Compared to the 2.4 gigahertz connection. So you plug USB-C, you plug it into your Steam machine. Well, I presume it might work on the Steam Deck as well at some point. And if you've just got a controller resting on it, it charges it. You take it off, and then uses a low latency connection between the controller and the puck. And you can have up to 4 of the controller connected into one puck. So it'll give you a better experience than just using Bluetooth, which it supports.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm wondering. Again, cost is. I can't remember how much I paid for the Gen 1 now. Just trying to think how much it was. So it wasn't cheap.
No.
It wasn't cheap at all.
But then a high-end controller isn't cheap nowadays. What was the Xbox Elite controller? I don't know.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
150,
like
160, maybe more. I can't remember. It was bought a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've been bought one of those,
They were not cheap. I love it, but it is not cheap. I go back to the normal Xbox controllers now and go, oh, these are a bit cheap.
Yes, what's this?
What's this?
Plastic rubbish,
Yeah, exactly. So it's nice. It has lasted. My top right shoulder button is a bit iffy now, so I think I might need to take it apart and give it a clean out.
Yeah. But Ben Tater, you mentioned about Gabe Newell and his yacht. Joking aside, his yacht was in the UK this week, wasn't it? That was.
Was it?
His yacht, yeah. So
he sailed it from New Zealand.
His yacht is called the Leviathan, and it's 364 foot long, and it was an English coast.
You forget this is.
I don't know if it still is.
Valve is a private company still, isn't it?
Yes,
it has no shareholders, so he must be loaded.
Yeah, it's got to be. All right, so all of these great stuff. Then, I was going to say, what didn't we get? Yeah.
Well, we didn't get Half-Life 3. But just bought our Steam machine. There's still hope. Maybe we'll get a Half-Life 3.
We're never going to see Half-Life 3.
Don't know. One thing, talking about games, though, they did say that Half-Life Alyx, they're working to get to run natively on the frame.
when you just think to yourself, what is going on here? Alex is a good game, and I've never really completed it because I couldn't get it because of where I had my VR headset.
You don't
have the room for it, but I enjoyed playing it. I'd like to play it more. Do you know what the point about the Steam Deck 2? And I think Valve have said that they don't feel the hardware's there yet, do they?
They don't want to do an iteration, do they? They want to do a big leap forward, and the technology to support their vision just isn't there yet. They want basically truly next-gen performance and battery life to make it worth doing.
And when what I thought about this, and I was like, you're right, they're right. And actually, this is taking a leaf out of Nintendo's book.
Yeah.
Because if you look at how Nintendo did with the Switch before they released the Switch 2, and the spec of the Switch as well proves that you can have decent games on there. And I think the same applies with the Steam Deck in that the lifespan of it is going to go beyond what people expect because it works. It just does.
There aren't many games I come across on the Steam Deck that don't work, and the ones that don't work are generally because it's some DRM, and obviously Linux and DRM don't really work. So like GTA 5 works on there. It used to work on multiplayer, but they introduced some new DRM, so now you can't do multiplayer, but you still play single player. It's not the best experience, but it's perfect, reasonable play experience on the Steam Deck on the small screen. So I'll be interested to see actually if Valve have been working with the DRM companies to maybe make some of those games work. Because generally it's the big games like your Battlefield 6s that have the root level DRM in there.
Oh god, yeah.
So whether Valve's working with that to maybe make that kind of thing possible.
But wouldn't you? I mean, I'd also argue that the difference as well here is that Steam also do that thing about validating it, don't they? That these will work, or this will not work, or this might work, but we're not going to guarantee it, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. So interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I think so. I look. I think this is fantastic news. Definitely, Valve are going to get a lot of money off me at some point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the VR headset.
Damn you, Gabe.
You can also play. You can also play your 2D games on that. If it's not a 3D game, you can use the same game streaming tech to just stream your 2D games and just have it on a giant 100-foot screen or whatever in front of you. And your videos, I think, there's videos as well. So it's like one of those personal cinema screens.
What's that game Cleared Hot, isn't it? Cleared Hot's the game we're looking to play soon, isn't it?
So you could be playing that on the plane on a 100-foot screen, looking like a right knob. Sorry, we might have to beat that one out. Got carried away there. Get your beep ready for that one. But yeah.
But hang on, that's a bit like what's it? The people who Vision Pros on a plane. I've not seen one yet.
I have not seen someone do it yet.
But Vision Pro on a plane. But yeah. By the way, Cleared Hot, which is the spiritual successor to Desert Strike, Jungle Strike, and all the strikes. Comes out on the 20th of November. Yes, approximately 5 days time.
Just in time for my trip. So I will be downloading that to the Steam Deck, and off I go.
See, I can't do. I'm trying to work out how I can play that whilst I'm away as well.
You need to buy a Steam Deck.
Yeah, because it's not going to work on emulation. I don't think, because it actually needs quite a bit of spec, doesn't it? So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to think about that. Right. Well, on that note, it's probably a good place for us to wrap up for this week. Then we'll be back next week for episode 230. My gosh.
Yeah.
I can't believe I'm saying that. No, that isn't me going to the dentist, by the way. That is episode 230 next week. Terrible jokes aside. Of course, you can find us at... well, I'm a dad. What do you expect? You can find us at techrant.online. We're on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts on, of course, on Blue Sky as well. Please, do share, tell your friends, leave us a review. It all helps. Make good content and carry on with this, dad jokes galore. So we'll be back next week with the latest news. Maybe we might even get a preview review of Cleared Hot if Karl's finished playing it. You never know. Maybe indeed. So with that, I've been Jay.
And I've been Karl. Have a good one.